Hello and welcome to BTV and to Nottingham Hockey Centre for today's Premier League fixture between Beeston and Oxted from Surrey at an unfamiliar start time of 12 noon. This is the last home fixture for the Bees this season, with their final match being away against the University of Exeter next week, although Oxted still have 3 games remaining against Beeston today: Brooklands, Manchester University and University of Durham. Both of today's teams have successfully negotiated this post-Christmas bottom 5 playoff, with Oxted currently at the top of the 5 teams on 20 points, followed by Beeston on 18 points. With only 1 relegation slot this season, Brooklands are also safe, and all 3 of these teams will feature in next season's Premier League, along with University of Nottingham, who were promoted to the Premier League last weekend, and possibly by Reading or Canterbury, depending on results today. The battle for Premier League status is therefore between the 2 university sides, Durham and Exeter, both of whom have 2 games to play, with Durham currently 2 points ahead of Exeter. In the Premier League top 6, Old Georgians have secured the title after their 5-0 win against East Grinstead yesterday, and Hampstead, Holcombe and Surbiton are battling it out for a top 4 slot and the playoffs and potential European hockey. I'm Steve Musson, standing in for Andy Day, who's down at Lee Valley today, and I'm joined in the chapel by Cellan Griffiths. Good afternoon, Cellan.
Here we are again.
We are. I seem to remember last time it was you and I that we did Oxted.
It was Oxted. It's the Oxted curse, but here we go. Right. But no, great to be here, Steve.
Yeah, and I think this is it's an interesting season in a way with the new league format, and which split at Christmas, and seeing the 2 sides today having stayed safe in the league. I think it's interesting how they're going to approach the match.
Absolutely. Here we are in this league lottery. Who's going to be relegated? Who won't? Even administratively. But here we are with the top 2 sides in this split. So this could be quite the match.
Yeah. Well, I think you get to a fixture like this where potentially you think points-wise there's nothing on it. But I would certainly, if I was coaching either of these sides, I'd want to see them actually put in a performance and look to get to the top of that 5.
I completely agree, and I'll have my eyes especially looking out for sort of the more promising goal scorers from both teams. So from ours, Sam Apula, Henry Croft,
yes,
and from Oxted, your Nick Giles, your Sam Drivers, Peter Friends. They're all players to look out for.
Yeah. Well, we're about to start. Our umpires today, James Barnes and Mark Jarvis, and we're off with Oxted in possession of the ball. Straight away, a bit of energy from Beeston. They talking in the week about their style of play, and I think they've recognised they need to press a lot harder than they have been doing, and straight away you can see that energy.
Attempted close down by Brendan Andrews, but Oxted retaining possession.
Skills, yeah. and a bit of a miss hit there. Potentially dangerous, so that'll be a restart for Beeston. The ball with Josh Pavis.
Absolutely, and you do see these ones as well, where the ball's been squeezed on the reverse stick and it's actually just rolled onto the back stick as well. So good opportunity for Josh Pavis to set up and
and straight away Beeston with a slightly higher overall team position and moving that ball nicely around the back. Bit of possession needed, as you get at the start of games. They're trying to set the trend and show who's going to be the side with the most possession.
I should apologise to the off for our viewers as well, who are joining now by some miracle, and you never see it, the game's actually started early, whole 3 minutes early, but here we are, 1 minute into the match. It is Beeston v Oxted, and you are on the right fixture.
And it's never easy. There's things changing all the time in the commentary box, and we have to keep our wits about it. But I think looking at the way that Oxted have played recently, they secured their safety pretty early in this second phase, and with their top scorer Nick Giles, and also from Sam Driver and Peter Friend getting on the score sheet for them. And I think they'll be wanting to make sure that they turn the results between the two teams round, because previous two matches have gone Beeston's way.
They will, you know, and you take these top two sides in the division, their past form, past 2 games, neither of them have been brilliant. You know, the Bees have had two losses, Oxted have had a draw and a loss, so obviously the Bees won the past 2 games, but let's see how this one's going to go today.
Yeah. Well, Beeston seemed to have got on the front foot straight away. A nice little move through the midfield there. Wasn't quite collected by the advancing forwards, and the ball back with Oxted, using the half-backs for outletting, and that's the way in which a lot of teams look to try to get away from their own defensive zone, whether they use half-backs or through the midfield players first. But it's very important that this is the area that you don't turn the ball over, because it can very quickly be a counter-attack.
Ball's gone the way of the Bees.
James Hunt on the ball there, so quite a strong press from the Oxted too. Nick Giles there straight away involved in that, and Beeston have dealt with that quite nicely. And there's that outlet where it goes to a midfield player first. Not a lot you can do with that, but it's important that the ball's held up by the midfield players, as it has been there. Robbie Gleeson, as ever, present in the midfield, just putting the ball on a foot.
And I think hoping for a quicker advantage on that one, but he's set. The ball's set in the middle of the park.
And a nice move by Gareth Griffiths there, and a good connection onto the right-hand side of the pitch. James Hunt progressing very high. Nice quick start, and good defensive work. And a turnover, very good indeed.
That's closed down well by James Hunt.
And that looks a little bit painful. That's hitting
with time off. And that's former B Lucas Ward just taking.
Yeah, that's right. I was going to say there's a couple of ex-Bs in the Oxted side. We've got Alex Brumfield and Lucas Ward. Both played here for a number of years. And both moved down south, so felt that was the club for them.
The defectors.
Yes, that's right. Just looking at some of the characters on the pitch today, I mean, it's worth a mention that Sahid Dillon for Beeston, 15 going on 16, playing his first time for the first team. Excellent player, a lot of potential in him.
And I have to say, I think this is one of the main reasons why I think this club is just wonderful. You know, I really do mean this. You know, we've got a strong junior section. It just means that players like Sahib can, you know, go from the junior sides and work all the way up, and it really is good to see. But a very promising player indeed.
Ball fell into the top of the D there, didn't quite fall for a Beeston player, and again, so far, I mean, Oxted's defensive shape's been very good. They've mopped up the 2 or 3 attacks that Beeston have had where the ball's found its way into the D. A bit of work to be done there from Joe Paul.
Just trying to retain possession.
I think I was a little bit critical of Joe Paul last time, because if you remember the last game we covered here against Brooklands, his outlet pass was turned over too easily, and I think he was particularly conscious of that. Ball one on the right-hand side. It's good movement from Oxted, and fed into the D for the first time.
It's well defended by Hudgwan.
And still with it. This is close. This is very close. Across the goal mouth there. Unfortunately for Oxted, they didn't get on the end of that. Still with them. Close to the D edge. Tricky there, because Robbie Gleeson had to be very careful. He didn't let that hit his foot and give away the first penalty corner of the game, but started with a long corner restart. Oxted just up in the pace a bit really. This is the second time on the right hand side, and being the defence have got in the way of that and turned that over back in Beeston's favour. But a bit of a sign there that two or three attacks from Oxted down the right hand side, and of course looking to get themselves into that dangerous part of the D.
Indeed, but I'm assuming that Oxted are going to be quite disappointed from that. You know, that's a play on the baseline which they should have trapped and could easily have been turned into a deflection, which came to nothing.
Well, you've got to get stuff out of these moments in the D. You know, the outcomes that forwards create, particularly, very important. Ball straight to the Oxted defender there. Probably a little bit more pressure could have been applied, I think, from Brendan Andrews there. Needs to work a bit harder on the Oxted defender. And that's a really good run through the middle. It's found a foot. Chris Porter on the ball there, finding pass out to this right-hand side again. A little bit of a feature building. That's the right side attack. Chris Porter on the ball again. Yeah, making Beeston set the defence, get low, make sure that they're not giving anything silly away. But a little bit of a pattern of attack and pressure building from Oxted.
But touch wood, so far it's been a convincing defence from the Bees.
Yeah. Well, we've seen both sides, you know, getting towards their opponent's D, and both defences set well and have come away with the ball. It's fallen to Chris Porter again. He seems to be all over the pitch at the moment. And there's the first penalty corner. And that you see these patterns develop in games. I mean, Oxted have had that possession, right side, left side. Chris Porter very involved in both of those moves. And sure enough, the result, penalty corner.
Exactly. Now let's have a look at this again and just run through. So the ball comes across to Owen Williamson.
Nicely fed in and
fed out to Porter.
Yeah, and onto a foot. James Hunt trying to get the put the tackle in there, but it was bounced onto his foot. So we'll see quite how they set up here. Beeston busy getting all the protective equipment on that you need nowadays. And it looks like we've got this Lewis Fraser number 3 and Owen Williamson number 2 lining up. Robert Mugridge on the, looks like on the first castle as the trapper. Can't quite see who that is on the second castle. Teams nowadays using 2 castle setups. I'm looking for a pacey injection there. That's very quick.
Balls out. Did that come off Hudgewell?
Yeah, I think it did. Yeah. Looking for a long corner restart, but Oxted's still on the ball and very busy, forcing the Beeston defence to track across the D with the transfer and finding their way towards the D again, looking for an opportunity. This is dangerous. Well covered. Apprentice there on the ball. Joe Waterston on the 19.
Josh Pavis will just take a sideline.
His laconic, cool style of play. Josh Pavis never rushed in any way. No. Works for him sometimes, but not always. And this is risky. And another penalty corner. The transfer around the back there just not secure enough, and each player was never in control of the phase of that passing, and it's resulted in a lot of pressure from Oxted, and sure enough, second penalty corner. There we go, that's 2 deep, and then trying to get that ball out from the back has
come up, and then ultimately it's the shoulder from Gleeson which has led to the corner. But I suppose there were a few, a lax defence there has led to a few opportunities where we could have conceded the corner.
You do wonder whether passing the ball into the D from a restart like that is the best thing to do. Far better to see that go forwards, and it wouldn't have given them the problem. So now they've got to see if they can defend the second corner. Similar setup from Oxted by the look of it. Same player still on the pitch. We used to talk about always being on the injection corners, the pace of the injection, and Oxted's first injection came out at a rate gives the strikers so much time. There we go again, good pace again. Nicely stopped by Simon Hudgwan, very balanced, good foot stop there, and it's allowing a counter-attack play here. A bit more pace needed on that. And there's the ball, that's Joe Paul just slipping that ball across there, the chance in front of the goal. but that's well defended again by
It
Oxted.
is, and it's disappointing that our attacks come to nothing there, but you do have to take your hat off to Simon Hudgwan. 2 corners there and reliably defended.
Yep.
You know, and with
Gives
your
team
2 top
confidence
teams,
when that happens. If you keep us
it certainly
on
does.
it, you know, and you're defending 2 short corners once they're out the way, that's a confidence factor. But just looking at Oxted's retreat defence, they're excellent. All their players back in the D in a short space of time and managed to break down the counter-attack, so really good work rate from Oxted. With effectively 3 players at the back at the moment, so there's a lot of movement in the midfield, and a great ball to the right-hand side of the pitch. Again, this is a feature from Oxted, getting there, finding their way into, and it's at the post.
This is dangerous.
That is really unfortunate. That was left thinking it was going out, and it's hit the post and come back into play. And a 3rd corner for Oxted. And I think Beeston will be looking at the turnovers that they've given and allowed Oxted, but that was a super ball pass to the right-hand side, and feeding that ball into the D, just getting it in there, always dangerous. Anything can happen. Connor Sign not being able to get onto the end of that tidily, and
but you know, we could really do with these opportunities, these offensive short corners, these opportunities not being made, because you can only rely on Simon Hudgwan's reliability.
Absolutely.
A certain number of times, and you know, with intimidating injection speeds like that, it's so difficult to close it down in those moments.
Yeah, it is, and you know, you don't see many Premier League sides take longer than 3 corners to get one in, so fingers crossed here. So a lot of work to do from the number 1 runner. Beeston's defence need to get out to this and make sure that they're set and ready, and Simon Hudgwan's probably going to be called on again. Excellent pace of injection. Reward, that's hit number 1 runner.
It looks like the umpire's reconsidering it, because the Bees are, and the award stands.
Yeah, that was Brendan Andrews got out very quickly, but the pace of Oxted's injection is excellent, absolutely excellent. It's giving them a good advantage here.
We've got just enough time just to watch this again before the setup, but we'll go away now just to join the live short corner.
Yeah, so Brendan Andrews is quite determined to run into the line of the flicker if he can do that. But here we go again. This is dodgy times for Beeston at the moment. They need to take this away. That is well out, but it's fallen to. And again,
we go again.
Foot again, yeah. So plenty of concentration needed from the Beeston defence. Oxted will be thinking now, we need to be putting one of these away. This is their 5th corner. You don't want to be seeing those stats really. If you're getting beyond sort of 3-4 corners, you'd like to get a result out of that. So,
yeah, three awarded corners, 2 re-awards. How much longer can you defend this for? But we go again.
Great injection yet again, and that is well out. The same thing that, yes, and this time, I mean, you have to give credit there to. I think that was. Yeah, that's been taken cleanly on the stick this time, and so therefore Beeston have actually successfully defended all of those. And I think you know, credit to number 1 runners being prepared to get in the line of the flick. It's not everybody's choice of a job for the day. Interesting little release, and that's Eddie Harper should have got on the end of that. I think really could have done with a bit of possession for Beeston further up in Oxted's half. Here we go, Beeston dropping off to a much deeper starting press. It's almost like in their own half, but slight change of tactics for the Bees. Adam Miller on the left-hand side, and has that been won back?
It's been won back by Pavis.
On to Oxted again. And a quick restart there. Ball fed over to the right-hand side. Yeah, a lot of movement from Oxted, playing the ball around very nicely. I think they've sort of edged the possession a bit now in this 13 minutes in, so this first quarter started to exert a bit of pressure on Beeston.
But defensively, you know, if you take the corners, we have certainly brought our game, because I must admit I was worried against Oxted, because we do find in these games where we just don't start early enough, and then we just find ourselves catching up throughout the rest of the game. But this has, I have to say, this has been impressive from the Bees, and won again.
Here we go again, yeah, a lot of energy, and You know, you want to see them both sides putting 100% effort into this ball with Eddie Harper, who's retained that possession nicely.
Release back to James Hunt.
There's that style again from Josh Pavis, taking his time, making sure he gets his pass, and again a ball fed forward but not quite not picked up well enough. That's just something I think that at the break Beeston will just want to focus on a bit, making sure that when that ball does get forward that it stays there for slightly longer periods. Let's go back into that familiar pattern, finding space on the left hand side, and there is the connection that's stuck, and that's with Rafa Calderon finds his way towards the edge of the D. Just on the ball there, just trying to get the game flowing, but umpire's making sure he controls this restart.
Yeah, ball not quite set exactly where the umpire wanted to be, and again another attack down the right hand side towards the baseline.
Yeah. And this is towards the edge of the D. That's nicely defended again. Beeston finding it difficult to get the ball out for any period of time, and it's finding its way into Oxted players in the heart of the D. Simon Hudran called on into action again.
6 corners.
This is, as we said, this is delicate times for Beeston, really, having to defend all of these corners. A little bit of tight play there. Opportunity to get rid of the ball from Beeston, but not taken well enough. And there it goes. Yeah, just found a foot again there. Joe Paul, I think, just got caught.
But, I mean, let's see what happens with this corner, Steve. But, you know, I know we're focused on Beeston. This is BTV after all. But if Oxted don't convert this corner, surely they need to be asking why aren't they converting these corners?
This is the way that games can ebb and flow, because you'd be thinking to yourself, we're winning all these corners and not getting a goal out of it. And again, that can affect confidence, these little bits within the game that can change your attitude and your approach. And from Beeston's point of view, if they can defend this, then, you know, having defended 6 corners, they need to then start to give a bit of possession themselves and see if they can create some issue at the other end. I'm impressed with this injection speed. I think it's... there we go again. Oh, that's hit the post. I think that was travelling, and I think that's hit the post and gone out in favour of Beeston. So again, as you say, that's... I mean, 6-1 defended.
We're only in the first quarter. There's plenty more game to happen yet. But this could be a match decided by psychology. You know, but yeah, it really could. You know, the Bees' confidence sky high after these corners, and Oxted's just ebbing away. Yeah,
wondering if you know, if we can't get a goal from those corners. But it's Richard Alexander now. And, found his way onto the pitch. Been absent for a few weeks. I think he was not well. Seems to have got through that, and. In the left half roll. So just winning back possession off the attempted aerial just down the left line.
We're into quarter time.
There we go. So I think the concerns from Beeston's point of view in that first quarter would be the number of corners given away, protecting feet in the D, because they've pretty much all been given for feet. And I would then be thinking about how the team holds the ball up high for longer periods of time to give the midfield chance to link with the Beeston forwards. Oxted be very pleased with that. I think there's some nice passing around the back and control, and they've managed to win those corners. But of course, the disappointment would be they haven't put one away.
I quite agree, and it's going to be an important next quarter for the Bees, isn't it? You know, Oxted have 6 corners won to our nil.
Yeah.
How long will our luck hold up? But I think from both sides, it's been an impressive performance. But obviously, Oxted have just edged it certainly on possession for the time being.
Yeah. Good crowd today. I think it's building, and it's behind us on the top of the clubhouse roof as well. So even though it's quite chilly today, but nevertheless, at least it's not raining. And see Gareth Andrews there just giving instructions into the lads, the Beeston lads there. Just probably what he would expect is a greater level of possession in this next quarter. Umpire's getting ready to restart. So this pitch is coming up this week then?
It is. We're going with a brand new blue pitch, 2 new blue pitches actually, at Beeston Hockey Club, at home Nottingham Hockey Centre, but the construction starts this upcoming week. But join us next season in a striking new blue pitch.
Yeah, I think it's falls into line with the other pitches on the site as well, so it'll be quite impressive.
It'll look spectacular. It really will. Both teams now setting up for the second quarter. You're watching Beeston versus Oxted in the England Hockey Men's Premier Division.
And we'll see whether Beeston have got sufficient instructions to change the pattern a little bit. Straight back with Oxted, off they go again. Final possession on the right-hand side. A lot of work having to be done defensively by the Bees. Good skills. Cam Heald on the right-hand side there, just getting beyond his player. Putting Oxted back on this high right position. Good lead, and it was a good pick up on the line there. That's a good lead from the Oxted forward. Hasn't quite made the control that was needed.
And it's closed down really well by Richard Alexander.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of experience in Richard Alexander. It's nice to see him back playing. A lot of space as Oxted have dropped off a bit deeper now. Not so much of a high press, giving Beeston a bit more time on the ball, time to move it around, just look for their openings as they get the ball forwards.
You were mentioning experience there, Musson. I'm really pleased that we've got a young side. We're bringing youngsters like Sahib Dillon in, but experience plays, long-time experience plays like Richard Alexander. It just changed the whole dynamic of the team. It really
so much to offer. That's right.
Does.
Particularly that balance that the senior guy with a load of experience is somebody like Sahib, and of course Ollie Firth, who's only 16 himself.
Of course,
another one of the Beeston youngsters who's come through the 4s, 3s, 2s and into the first team, and it's good to see. Beeston, of course, missing Henry Croft, a sort of force of nature goal scorer who picked up a nasty injury a couple of weeks back, but he seems to be getting through that and not too much damage, I hear. So
yeah, exactly, and I'm sure next season he'll be back just as much of a force of nature, if not more. But no, we're wishing him a very speedy recovery.
The ball's still a bit loose, a little bit untidy there from Richard Alexander. We've just been praising him, and the ball's still fallen to Oxted, and it's given them an opportunity for their 7th penalty corner. Well, I just feel there, when you defensively, when you get on the ball, it's extremely important that pass you make takes it away from danger. And if you see here the ball with Richard Alexander, and he's not really got hold of it well enough, and Oxted have won that back. And again, they've taken it off Josh Pavis, and it's found yet again another Beeston foot. So can you imagine the coaching staff going bonkers on the side about this? The number of corners given away, it's far too many in what is only 20 minutes, and we're looking at 7 corners against.
Well, Moss, we're lucky. We've got a whiteboard where we can do a tally, but if you're in the crowd, how on earth are you going to keep
yes,
tabs with this?
I know. So we'll nothing's
time.
Yeah, just the amount of time it's taking Beeston to put the protective equipment on. Don't blame any of them for not wanting to start without wearing it. Slightly different for the setup for Oxted. Owen Williamson, number 2 from the first castle, and I'm just trying to see who that was on the second castle, but that's changed from before. So here we go. Different injector. Let's see what the pace is there. Yeah, just a little bit slower. Ball's with. And that's fallen to Oxted, and there we go. That's looking like well, it was only going to be a matter of time, really. You can't keep giving away corners and not expect the team benefited from it to get ahead. And even though it's taken 7, that's a bit of a nuisance for Beeston to deal with.
I completely agree, and we've been caught up by probabilities here. Let's have a look at this again.
It wasn't the best of traps, but put back into the D, fell loose, and it allowed a slip pass and a finish.
From Webster, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's right. That's Chris Webster finished up on that. So lessons learnt for Beeston, really. They've got to stop giving these corners away, and I think that for me the key to that is to spend a little bit more time with possession higher up the pitch. Too many times they've allowed Oxted to into the D. So at the moment, we've got Oxted in the lead, who'll be keen to keep this lead, having lost the previous 2 games this season to Beeston. So, and Beeston a bit to do to try and create something.
Yeah.
I think Beeston have only been in the D about couple of times so far. The turnover a bit too easy there.
It is unfortunate. It's just released just a bit too easily, and Oxted once again
on the attack. Yeah, feeling very busy. Oh, that was an opportunity, because I think that was Alex Bloomfield on the right-hand post was there ready for a pass.
And it's a very opportune advantage wasted as well.
Yeah, Rafa Calderon there didn't. I think he was thinking one pass ahead and hadn't actually tracked the ball, but it was a good feed through. Found a lot of space in the D. There we go, ball into the midfield. Richard Alexander there. Tight. Good. The press has changed again. You can see Oxted, who had dropped off a bit, are now putting a high press on. And here we go with Robbie Gleeson, a lot of space, using his pace, and unfortunately he's misread the lead. Although, to be honest, I think that Brendan Andrews, to his left there, could have probably carried on his run and would have found a bit of space. And I think that's the player that Robbie was looking for. He's a friend finding Chris Porter on the left-hand side. Tricky skills. Managed to eliminate 2 players very easily, and again heading towards the D. Found a foot from James Hunt. Quick restart. Left-hand side. This needs to be tidier. That's Joe Paul just finding his way out. I think he's taken that off the side, is he? No,
but the umpire unconvinced, so
that looked very close to me. There we go. Now can Beeston and Robbie Gleeson find their way forwards, just retaining possession. Sensible thing to do with. Notice how quickly. Good work rate from Oxted, back into shape. Really excellent. That their work off the ball is almost as good as and quick as the work on the ball. So it's allowing them to keep repossessing and winning possession back. Yeah, and the ball foot there with Jamie Batten, captain, on the left-hand side. Lucas Ward in the middle of the pitch. Lucas Ward, his time at Beeston, very, very tricky midfield player, and on his day, as good as anything, really. Very quick hands.
And it's certainly showing.
Here we go, just dangerous again. Doubtless looking for opportunities. Managed to get round the Beeston defence, and it's still
well disciplined so far from the Bees.
It's better, yeah.
Yep, released back onto the foot of an Oxted player, and we reset.
I think the number of times they've, it's almost become like a training session for them. The number of times they've had to reset and defend, they did that very well. Robbie Gleeson just in the middle of the park, happy to just feed that ball, got it back again. Just an easy option, I think, there, just to find a foot. And that's a quick link through. That has been picked up by Brendan Andrews. A bit of space here. Can he create an shooting opportunity?
And then no, it's released again. It's
6 Oxted defenders there, right back on the edge of the D, really quickly. I think they're well structured. They're doing this very well. They very quickly adapt from that defensive position to 3 at the back, and that's a lovely line of passing for them out through the midfield. Tricky skills, still keeping the ball. This is the sort of stuff that Lucas Ward can do, find his way through, and that is with Oxted in a dangerous position. Simon Hudran called upon again, but
corner number 8.
Yeah. Slightly different reason. I think that's come off Simon Hudran's pads and gone a bit high, creating danger, so penalty corner given. But really skillful play there through Chris Porter in the middle of the field. Lucas Ward's tricky skills, finds his way towards the edge of the D. Nearly a very easy connection. Simon Hudran managing to make an emergency save. Called into action late in the move and didn't have much of an option there. So, interesting stat this. I mean, this. Did you say this was number 8, Cellan?
Number 8, yeah.
That's an incredible. No corners for Beeston and 8 to Oxted. So here we go again. Same similar setup. And there we go. And they're getting to the practice factor that they're getting is helping them no end there. That's Lewis Fraser, I think, who's put that in. Found the bottom corner. And Oxted take a 2-goal lead.
And let's have a look at this again.
I think this injection pace, we keep mentioning it, but you can see how quickly that allows, how much time that allows for the flicker. The number 1 runner only managing to get halfway out, half to 3/4 of the way out, and a really nice finish into the bottom corner from Lewis Fraser. bit to do now for the Bees. I think this is going to be a hard battle. They're going to need to change the way that they play and retain a bit more possession.
We do, and I have to say, you know, despite being 2 goals down, I don't have much to say faulting the defence, to be honest. What I want to see in the midfield, I want to see our passes. I want to see us make passes that don't go to nowhere. And I want to see us closing down plays, you know, from our attackers when Oxted have taken their 16-yard hits.
Another example there. I mean, it is easy to focus on defences in these kind of situations, but there's a lot more to be done by the midfield in terms of possession, and equally by forwards. I don't think they've held that ball in the higher areas of the Beeston attack for more than about a minute of the game so far.
I completely agree. I have to say I think our defence has fallen foul just of probabilities based on the amount of corners that we've had now. But yeah, you are absolutely right. I think the onus is on our forwards to be closing this down and making sure that they're attacking.
Yeah, Joe Paul just lifting the ball there, trying to get out of trouble and lifted it into one of the Oxted players. And Andrews eliminated quite easily there. Adam Miller on the ball. Nice passing patterns by Oxted, and there's the use of the aerial. Not quite controlled there, and puts Oxted back into the D, but thankfully on that occasion Joe Waterston's defence was strong.
And I have to say, I think that was a stick block well spotted by James Barnes, who'd communicated to over the ready to Mark Jarvis's collar, but that was a good spot actually.
2 umpires of similar stature and height, I think,
and seeing eye to eye as well, quite literally.
Here we go. Here we go again. The ball in the D, dangerous times, and
blown up again just for another stick block.
Yeah. But all this time, every time that Oxted have had the ball in the D, they're quite happy to bounce it around and find little gaps, and of course that makes life very difficult for defences. And
absolutely.
I think if there was a calorie count on this, it would be the defence that have burnt more for Beeston. So come on, midfield and forwards, let's have a bit of action going at the other end. Richard Alexander just losing the ball there on the left hand side, but he's done well to win that back, and straight into a quick restart, which you can do in the game of hockey. You can start the ball, the play again yourself, and travel with it. Good move introduced into the game a few years ago now, but really keeps the game busy.
Absolutely.
Back with Richard Alexander.
Closing, nearly the closing 5 minutes of this half.
Yeah.
Can we make something of this? Look for the opportunity to put it on the foot, and
I think there's an appeal for a corner, but
it is a corner.
It has been given, yeah. Well, that's probably for probably the last 15 minutes. That's the first time that Beeston have found their way into the D. But the key being the midfield connection, the halfback connection with a forward, and the midfield connection there just puts the ball into the D and gets an opportunity to find a foot. Precisely what Oxted have been doing to Beeston, and so we'll see if we can get anywhere near scoring from this. The likely candidates, Josh Pavis, probably on the flick, I think. Richard Alexander lining up there.
With James Hunt to inject for the Bees.
Eddie Harper, number 8, on the right-hand side there. The Bees will go straight for a flick. I mean, Josh Pavis can be very powerful from these situations, and if they get that injection quickly out, Gareth Griffiths there on the first Castle trap. There we go. Interesting choice. I don't know what I think of that, really, to try and put it onto the reverse stick for a hit.
No, and I'm not as well. You know, I'm not sure if the lift was intended or not, but you know, for new viewers watching from a penalty corner, your first hit on goal, it must be below the backboard. You can push it or flick it higher than that, but the first hit on a penalty corner must be below the backboard.
Yeah. And this is a connection now. It's a good repossession from Beeston. The ball with Gareth Griffiths, a chance. I think he thought he was closed down a bit more than that. Eddie Harper fighting for possession again and a restart.
Griffiths on the ball again.
Looking for some space. That has found its way into the goal, but it's from outside the D.
And the Bees aren't too happy with that. They seem to be suggesting that the ball's come off an Oxted player, and we want
the space here.
Highlights actually to review.
Classic counter-attack off that, and that ball fired into in front of Simon Hujwan, who's sharp for that. One corner restart to Oxted. Yeah, just going back to that corner, really, I think, to get a shot on target, I would have said, particularly in the circumstances that Beeston find them in. I don't know quite why. It's a very difficult angle to get a shot off from. So again, with a long corner restart for Oxted.
By Mark Jarvis. Long blow on the whistle. Just checking what for.
And here we go again. Good leads. You can see the Oxted forwards busy trying to find space in the D. 5 of them in there at the minute, and that ball's fallen quite. Yes, I think we're going to find Eddie Harper trying his very best there to intercept the pass to the higher Oxted forward, and I think he's put it onto his own foot. So just as we're approaching half time now, the
9th penalty
get
corner.
Their 9th penalty corner, scored off 2 of them. There, that little bit of control needed there, and his stick work deserted him at that moment. So plenty to talk about for the Beeston coaching staff, I would have thought, at half time, and Oxted sitting pretty comfortably and playing some good hockey, stringing quite a lot of passes together each time they get possession, which is what's putting them towards the D each time and placing Beeston under pressure. Good injection and a save required from Simon Hujwan diving.
I know, I did want to see where this one would go, but and I've said it before and I'll say it again, I can't fault the performance of Simon Hujwan at the minute. He's been reliable where midfield and forward hasn't necessarily been.
Yeah, I think that's probably the point, and as we say, it is easy to focus on defenders and them getting hit on the feet and everything, but the rest of the team has a role in that, and they're only called into action when other things have gone wrong. So I think the midfield need to get a little bit more involved in this. Again, falling to Oxted, their pressure.
Dangerous now in the closing moments of this half.
Skills on the ball. Yeah, that's
but closed down well. The umpire's going to play an advantage for the Bees.
Sign just trying to get away.
Another free hit for the Bees. Can they release it quickly? And they have.
And that's a better connection. Here we go. Will Prentice, where's that going? Speed of Oxted's defence again. I think it's as we get to half time, I think that's been a real feature for them. Impressive reshaping and defensive work. So we find ourselves at half time with Oxted 2 from 2 short corners, and out of their barrage of 9, which is a good achievement for them to have won that many. Beeston sort of striving a little bit for possession and a bit more attack play, and certainly a bit more pressure on the Oxted D.
There certainly is. Now it's an 8-minute half time. We'll leave you in those 8 minutes to put the kettle on, digest that half, and then you'll join us again on BTV for a second half of Premier Division hockey. But as it stands at this half, it's Beeston 0, Oxted 2. We'll be back in a while. Thank you. welcome back to BTV. You're joining the second half of Beeston versus Oxted in the England Hockey Men's Premier Division. In case we're bringing you up to speed now, the Bees have managed to concede a mammoth 9 penalty corners to 1 and are 2 goals down at the minute.
Yeah, well, I think it's we've just been having a discussion, Cellan. Really, I mean, you know, you can easily focus on defenders and the number of times it's hit feet, but equally you have to look at the amount of possession that Beeston have given away in the midfield and the number of times they haven't managed to hold it up high up front, and of course that puts added pressure on defence when it keeps coming back at you time and time again. So I'd quite like to see a little bit more out of the midfield in terms of possession. And similar from the forwards as well, just to give them more opportunities. I
completely agree, and you know we were saying it as well. You know, even if the midfields and the forwards haven't been closing down, I want to see them working really hard for it when the ball's turned over.
Well, we've mentioned briefly the Beeston women's performance this year, having made the top 6, and when you see that energy and work rate in their squad, really cohesive group of players.
There is a lot to be said for that. You know, winning 2-0 against Hampstead and Westminster yesterday, but you know, led by coach James Sordillo, it's been an astonishing performance. You know, easily been the most successful coach for that women's first team that we've ever seen. And
ably backed up by Zoe Hainsworth as manager and Gareth Eikin, so a great group of people.
Absolutely.
And here we go, Oxted in possession of the ball on the left hand side, so back in possession for them. So this is their trademark style of play, which has worked very well for them, so why change it? So they've managed to find outlets quite easily. And there we have Ben Collinson just picking the ball up. Yeah, and a bit of progression from Beeston on the right, winning the restart ball with Josh Pavis. And there's that feed to the midfield. How do you progress this forward? Now this is where
Rafa Calderon from Oxted just looking to close down, but they've released it back.
You were talking about work rate, but if you look at Oxted's work rate, it's been excellent.
That was really impressive.
Ball with Captain Gareth Griffiths there, and a attempted connection through to Robbie Gleeson didn't quite come off. Oxted fighting for possession there, managing to retain that. Restart, ball transferred again around the back. Quite a bit of time, potentially a little bit more pressure needed from Beeston, who've dropped quite deep. Good use of an aerial maybe. Should really fall to a Beeston player, and it has. John Winston. Some neat little play around, a bit of a break here on the left hand side. Will Prentice finding some space towards the D.
Released well from Josh Pavis as well, just setting Will up.
Yeah, really a free hit.
We'll go again, just between the dotted line and the D.
Opted to try and get some D possession here. In it goes. It just falls for a long corner restart, just kept coming off Oxted defender's stick. With Robbie Gleeson. Plenty of Beeston players in the D. Finally to the right hand side. Can they find their way into the D? That's long corner. Again, restart. Very close to the edge of the D there, I think. Looking for a penalty corner, didn't quite come off. Josh Pavis quickly fed into the D. And a good step out from the Oxted defence, isn't it?
Time off.
A bit of a discussion here. I think a bit of a complaint from Will Prentice, and umpires wanting to stamp on that. Not been too much difficulty from an umpiring point of view. It's been nice and straightforward, I think.
And it's been a well-tempered game.
Yeah. The sort of possession that we're seeing from Oxted is what I think Beeston need to aspire to in this second half, because they have kept possession for long periods of time. And here's an opportunity with Robbie Gleeson, managing to get himself close to the D, and a quick follow-up there from Josh Pavis. Can he create something from this? Marshall, keeper's marshalling his defence very well there and just feeding that ball out. For Calderon making a connection forward.
Release again and again. It's incumbent on the forwards and the midfields to close this down.
Look at the space here. This is potential shot and it's not been taken, but that's right in front of the goal, and there's going to be the third goal. Well, the commitment and work rate by Oxted to win that ball back, to get it forward and to fight for the possession in the D has given them their third goal. And Jordan Turnbull, number 24 there, has put that away. But the space on the left there, I thought that was going to be a shot, wasn't quite taken, but the ball was retained. Possession, slip across. Just fell wide of Simon Hujwan.
You know, and I didn't want to pick up on this, you know, because we have to commentate on the game, but there are outside factors which play into this as well. I know for a number of reasons, you know, it's training sessions, you know, delivering the training sessions, but for various reasons, you know, not everyone's been available, and it just is showing, because if you don't prepare, like in the forward and midfield, if it collapses in that way, we have astonishing turnovers like that.
Yeah, that's right, and you know, you're trying to keep your standards high. So much depends on the training. Here's the ball running free again potentially, and that's gone for a long corner restart. But one of the things about the structure of the league, I mean, I think there are some flat spots as a result of the split league. You see it in a number of the teams finding themselves with not a huge amount to play for, to be honest.
But you know, and I say what I say, but we're at this point of the season. This is our last home game.
Yeah.
Both teams safe. This is an excellent opportunity for us to put our youngsters out and experiment with them. I'm really glad that we're doing this.
Definitely.
And what a fantastic opportunity.
Gareth tricky skills,
retaining possession well, and that is very good.
A little bit of he's unfortunate not to get something out of that, really, because I think that was an offence, really. But
yeah, like we say again, I must admit I was expecting a free hit awarded for the stick block there. So
bit of space, that ball's not quite controlled there. Brendan Andrews picking that up high, trying to make the pass across the top of the D. Oxted's fighting for absolutely everything, and definitely got their tails up. The 3-goal lead speaks wonders for the amount of effort they've put in, and that's just fallen nicely for Beeston. So an opportunity to try to get a foothold in this game if they can, with their second penalty corner of the match.
The corner being won, I believe, as the aerials descended towards the D. The ball should have fallen to a Beeston attacker, but Oxted not remaining 5 metres away. So as the offence has fallen within the circle, it's a penalty corner awarded to the Bees.
Nicely summed up, Kellen, with your umpire's hat on. Excellent. So I think at this point of the game, you're into the third quarter. Second half truly underway. If there's going to be a fight back from Beeston, it does need to start now, and this is a good opportunity. I think I'd like to see, if it is going to be Josh Pavis from the top, I think putting something on the goal. I wasn't particularly a fan of that first corner that they took, and I think this needs to cause some difficulty for the Oxted defence, and maybe even a follow-up or whatever, but that's a good injection.
The ball's injected.
Oh, that's nicely...
it is nicely done.
Saved by Fred Whitfield in the Oxted goal.
But there's an impressive short corner setup. You know, the pace of the injection does match that of Oxted. You know, Oxted's defence, they're really going to find it difficult to close that down, and it's a good setup for the penalty corner.
Fred Whitfield there, he's been around Oxted for a few years now. You see him, as we're saying, marshalling his defence, making sure that they're all in the right place. Nice little outlet through the midfield, and unfortunate turnover there, but that's back with Beeston, and again they find their way into the midfield in possession of the ball. Griffiths progressing on that right hand side. Ball back to Will Prentice, can he keep that in? He's that's just gone off the back line. It's slightly too far ahead of him to get anything other than an attempted cross in, which is a bit of a shame because the midfield build-up was quite good. Back we go again. Brendan Andrews just trying to cut off the ability of Oxted to transfer that round the back, but they've found that quite straightforward. And there it goes to the left half. Going out of the tight areas of the midfield, still retaining possession. and won back by Joe Waterston. Josh Pavis using an aerial towards the D. Has that found? That's nicely stepped in. Peter Friend there in the defence for Oxted. Sideline restart.
Set up again just in the wrong place.
Yeah.
So they'll go again just inside the field of play.
Yeah, interesting with the either sideline hits or restarts, being able to start them very quickly, but umpires keeping an eye on progressing too far for the restart or not having the ball under control properly.
Exactly. You know, umpires at this level, they are going to give some leeway. It's in the game's interest and the umpire's interest to release the play quickly, but you know, you can't take the mick with it really. It has to be vaguely where the ball landed, and I think the umpire was right to reset play.
Gareth Griffiths on the ball there, bit of progression through the midfield. Still with Beeston, right-hand side. Quite deep there for Joe Paul. Unfortunate. Still with Beeston. Not sure how that happened, but Sahid Dillon there, finding himself at left half. We watched him improve year by year, and it's fantastic to see him getting a first team position. And here he is on the ball again. Very skillful for a youngster, very skillful player, got a great future ahead of him, and
I've been, you know, very impressed by the performance so far for a first outing in the Premier Division. It's brilliant to see. But offensively, you know, the Bees do seem to be building up some sort of momentum offensively. But you know, the absence of both Croft and Apula, our two top goal scorers, it does show in games like this, especially when you're toe to toe against teams like Oxted, you know, who are comparable standard. You have those absences. Unfortunately, in these games, it does manifest.
Ready to do restart. Good ball with Robbie Gleeson. Fluffed his lines again, and the ball back with Oxted for a counter-attack. Good retreat work from, and it's still fallen to Oxted with a bit of space. Yeah, and in retreating at pace, Joe Paul has barged the Oxted player off the ball. Illegal challenge, and
it's a green card awarded, so a 2-minute temporary suspension. But I'd really like to see this again.
Yeah, well, the ball there was with Josh Pavis, but he didn't control that. Chris Porter finding himself in a bit of open space, and Joe Paul just fouling him as he travelled towards the D. So, corner number 10.
But Robbie Gleeson has, like, the work rate from Robbie Gleeson was excellent to try and close play down.
Yep.
That's it. But
just that little bit of skill that would have controlled the ball.
But unfortunately, the umpire deeming it a deliberate foul, within that, between the last quarter line and the baseline, it does result in a penalty corner, unfortunately. Number 10.
Well, Oxted improving their goal difference immeasurably here. I mean, the stats between Oxted and Beeston are very similar for the season, with numbers of wins and draws and goals for and against. Beeston at the start of this game were on a -9, so they're at -12 at the moment, and of course Oxted have improved from their -13 starting position. So it's been a good outing so far for Oxted.
It certainly has. You know, and as we were saying before, these are comparable teams. We just have two, I think, two notable absences. And
correct, yes. Good injection and a good run out that time, and I think that was Brendan Andrew getting his stick to that. So let's put that ball with Richard Alexander on the right hand side. That's played forward. Instead covering that quite nicely, using the aerial to escape to Owen Williamson in the midfield. Nice connection.
And look there, so Sahid Dillon getting himself set up really well.
Yes,
and you know, it has resulted in a foul, but it really is well closed down.
Absolutely, yeah. For such a young player, his awareness and his defensive capability is excellent. So I'm looking forward to seeing him progress. Midfield with Eddie Harper, managing to keep possession. It's out to Sahid Dillon. Really calm player, calm play on the ball.
It's unusual to see such a high degree of composure from a player that young. So I think, you know, the next season as well, It's easily going in the one to watch
yes,
box.
I would totally agree with that. I think definitely one for the future. But the future being next season, I think, because he's as good as that. I think it's watched him play many times in the lower teams, and every single time he finds his way up a team, he seems to impress straight away. So,
the thing is, Muss, we've picked our faults with the forward and the forwards in the midfield in this. In fact, I'll just come back to that point just in a moment. As Oxted are driving down towards the baseline.
Speedy attack from Oxted, just finding their way through to a potential shot, but that's. Alexander just tidying things up there.
Gleeson not happy. He was ready to take
the
free
hit.
Yes,
that's
and
right,
Oxted weren't 5 metres away, and I think he was expecting just a bit more, because and I agree, it was quite an egregious breakdown of playing quite an important moment, I thought. But what I was going to say, Steve, is for the setup next season, we've picked faults with the midfield and the forwards, but I have never actually been more excited for an upcoming season than this one now, because I think the core of this squad is very, very good. Yes, we've got 2 notable absences, but I think next season we could be competing in that top 4. I really do. I
agree with that. I think there's
we've
got
a lot to look forward to.
We know about a few little things that could occur, but we've got people like Louis Dupre, who's been playing in the 2s because he wasn't registered, and he'll be in the first team squad. Excellent player.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to seeing him play next year. Bit of pressure building here, and a connection in the D.
Good from Gareth Griffiths.
Oxted have defended that well. I thought there was an opportunity for a corner, but not to be. But it is difficult when you lose, as you say, particularly Henry Croft and Samapula's ability to score and to hold the ball up. They're really starting to function. Certainly Henry Croft's injury was a worry, because I thought that was going to be long term, but thankfully it isn't, and I think he'll be back playing in a couple of weeks. Unfortunately, the season would have finished, but there's the cup still to play, isn't there? So.
And I think actually it's a good point actually to touch on to the next season, how that format will look like, because we are going to be going with the split next year, but of course we're going to be going with a league of 12, with the split at Christmas being with 6 teams.
Correct.
And there are a number of formats being discussed at the minute, but I've always advocated that our European places should come from the league winner and from the cup.
Yes.
Now, we're not going to get the cup.
No,
I would love to see the cup, but we're not going to get it.
Yeah.
But what is being proposed is possibly a top 8 or top 7,
yes.
then playing quarterfinals, semi-finals and finals to get that second European place.
Yes.
And while it's not quite the cup that I'd like to see, I think it comes really close, and I think that will be exciting next season.
Well, it's always been a disappointment to me that the cup was not focused upon. But here we go with Beeston just finding a bit of space, but again nicely tidied up. Ball with I think on this occasion with Beeston. Sahib Dillon again just showing his ability to get that ball towards the D. Eddie Harper with a restart here, quite high up on the left hand side, and not a lot of options for him there. And a bit more movement from Beeston players. Managed to find that out to Josh Pavis. Stick tackle there on Josh. I think he was looking for it. He seems to be looking for his reverse stick feeds on every occasion. And, I think he needs to be a bit more varied than that. But nevertheless, ball still with Beeston, finding its way towards the D. Oxted again. They are habitually defending this very well. I think their setup's good. Impressive at the start of the game, really. Robbie Gleeson's work rate, speaks for itself. He's a fit lad, to say the least. He's capable of covering all parts of the pitch. I think he's had a good season, to be honest. I
completely agree. We touch on the work rate. His is notable on the pitch above most other players.
Yeah.
I think you see Robbie bearing down on you like a train.
That's right. I know. Yes, it's explosive speed. He doesn't give you long, does he? But
no.
Again, I know we keep going on about it, but you mentioned the word composure from Sahib Dillon. He's he's not had any problems really with this possession. And this is what he does, first time out for him with the first team, and prepared to feed that ball forward quickly on the left-hand side. That's running free to... Let's see who that was actually. I think that was Josh Pavis trying an inside reversed. Oh, bit of curling going on there, I think.
And the ball there is right for Beeston. You can't lift the ball into a player in that way. I suppose it goes without saying. Alex Blumfield, former B, just trying something a bit too audacious in the middle of the park, I think.
Well, you do see that. I mean, you don't want those kind of injuries that can happen. Stick height, head height, and everything else. There can be nasty injuries. I've seen them many times, and important to keep a tab on that. Good aerial. And that's Dylan just watching that off the side of the pitch. And there we have the three-quarter break, really, and a bit more possession from Beeston. A few attacks, finding their way into the D, only managing the one extra penalty corner. So a big deficit, 3 goals with only 17.5 minutes to go.
It is, but I don't think it's all doom and gloom. I think in this quarter, you know, while we are 3 goals down, especially in the later stage of that quarter, we have gone some ways to right the wrongs of that first half, especially. So I think it's perfectly possible that we retain, you know, maybe 1 if not 2 goals. But you know, we've seen bigger turnarounds before.
Yes, yeah, and I think the point you make about the development side of things, which is a big part of what's going off at the club at the moment. I mean, I've been working a lot with the threes this year, and seeing we've got Dylan came through that, and there's some other very good youngsters in that team at the moment, and progressing them forward. We've developed 6 or 7 players for the second team this year, and I think that's what it's all about, really.
I completely agree, because I might cause some controversy here, but I think if you are taking part in the Premier Division, the onus on your club should be that you have good facilities.
Yes.
And a good junior section.
Correct.
Because I think there is no point in being a club and having no real junior section where you're not going to be developing players.
Yeah.
Because it makes the league worthless.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, you have good clubs like this, and there are good clubs. You were talking earlier about Reading's resurgence back into the Premier Division.
I couldn't be more thrilled for Reading. I think it's excellent, and credit to them. They're a great setup down there. It's a great place to visit for away games and things, and I take my hat off to the way that they've fought their way. It's not easy to get out of those leagues, and they've done a super job of it. Well, hopefully they have. I think it looked very much like that.
It was looking very promising for them.
Yeah. So yeah, it'd be nice to see Reading back in there. Of course, they're the closest team to Bisham of interest. But and here we go. So last 17.5 minutes, can Beeston find a goal to get some way to getting back into it? And I think we have to give credit to Oxted, because I think their off-the-ball work rate has been really good today.
I completely agree. I don't think there's been many scenarios in this game at all where they haven't been set up and
that's right. Good coaching structure, really, and they've got themselves very organised as far as today's game is concerned. Jordan Turnbull there just losing possession. Ball with Will Prentice. And it's still there with Eddie Harper bouncing that ball into the D. And again, that's just what we're talking about there. That calm setup by the Oxted defence has seen that away. Nick Giles there on the travelling down the right flank, just making sure he keeps possession. Lucas Ward, and that's been fed in and picked off by Eddie Harper. Brendan Andrews needs to make a connection here if possible. I think that's probably gone too far. The lead from Eddie Harper towards the baseline, I think it's a difficult connection to make, that really is. Heading away from the goal, difficult angles, easily marshalled by defence. There we go, another connection, and that's James Hunt stepping onto that. But again, the work rate, you see the work rate there from, I think that was Nick Giles just getting himself back into shape quickly. Mistrap there from, that was Nick Giles, mistrap on the sideline, ball with Josh Pavis. Into the back, Beeston's back 2, transfer, and a good connection on the right hand side to Gareth Griffiths. that kind of ball pace can get you free, fed into
That's
the D.
a very good transfer.
What can happen here? Anything? That's very low defence against Brendan Andrews there.
But the setup was very good, I thought.
Very good, yeah. And here we go, and not quite controlled on that left-hand side. Yeah, so I think for me the biggest point from Oxted's point of view is the way in which they have been able to set themselves, their work rate generally around the pitch, particularly for repossession, and especially for back into defensive shape. So they'll take a lot of heart from that, really. They've still got 2 games to go against Brooklands and University of Durham. So steal a march on both of those. I'll go pick up some points towards the end of the season, really. That's a decent feed through, well watched by Sahib Dillon. I think good to see him getting into the penalty spot there and making sure he shielded that slip ball.
It is. I think he's found 2 number 1 fans in me and you, Mus.
It definitely has, yeah.
But I think what's really important, this is his Premier League debut.
Yes.
That hasn't looked out of place.
Not at all, no. That's Lucas Ward just winning the ball back there off Ben Collinson. Yeah, so the dynamics of Beeston's team certainly changed in the last 2 or 3 weeks. The loss of Henry Croft was in effect, Samapula and Suki Panasar not being available. But it opens up the opportunities, so we've had 2 juniors making their debuts. That was Nick Giles there, just committing the cardinal sin in the D of missing the target.
We'll install a barn door in place of the goal instead next time.
Robbie Gleeson's pace there, that is definitely a foul. There's going to be a green card there because, yeah, can't quite see who that was, but I think it was that Lucas Ward who was being carded there for?
Yes, it was. I can see him looking glum on the bench, just across from the chapel.
On his former teammate. Clumsiness didn't explain that. Oh, unfortunately that missed there, that ball from Sahib Dillon to, I think it was Ben Collinson on the baseline. Yeah, Ben Collinson there didn't quite connect. And Andrews again trying to split the 2 centre-backs. That aerial out to Jordan Turnbull in the middle. That's by James Hunt. That's rather too easy, I'd have thought. One of the rules of hockey is to pass to somebody with the same colour shirt on, I'd have thought. So here we go. It's going to be a bit of a chase for Gareth Griffiths there. Yeah, so I think under the with the new players in and players missing for Bees, a bit of misfiring going on really, and obviously things to change for next season.
There has, but certainly I don't regret it being this stage of the competition that these changes are made.
There's that reverse stick attempt by Josh Pavis again. I think he's got to be more selective about using that. Again, that's another pass that's gone straight to an Oxted player. Out onto the left flank, keeping the ball. Some really good skills to keep this possession. Look at that onto the baseline, excellent really. And the ball falling free. Simon Hujwan called into action again, and it's resulted in a penalty corner, but really good connections by Oxted. Build-up play and their connections in the D have given them their 11th, by my calculation, penalty corner.
11 penalty corners to 2 is where it stands at the moment.
It's just gone up on a high-tech
whiteboard from Wilco's.
Perfect. But again, as you quite rightly say, Kenny, you look for the positives in any kind of situation. Really, you often learn more from games that you lose than you do from games that you win. Making sure that keeps talking about Sahib Dillon. I would expect him to stay with the squad now. I don't see a reason why, from what we've seen there, that he can't be a permanent fixture with the first team squad.
I'd be inclined to agree. I'm not the coach. Neither of us the coach. But if we were, I think we'd be keeping him in the squad.
I think that's right. He does look the parts really, and then of course making sure that you know, the injured players, Sam Apula and Henry Croft, rehab properly, bringing them back into play and getting them ready for next season. Here we go. So a bit of an adjustment from the Castles, and again a good run out from, and that's going to be very good save from Simon Hudgwan. Good run out from Brendan Andrews there. That's about the third time he's actually managed to get there and get the stick on the flick. Ball just falling loose to Oxted. I think they'll regret not getting that one, but a good reactive save from Simon Hudgwan.
I'm very impressed by Simon Hudgwan, actually, because even in these scenarios where you're 3 goals down, there's 10 minutes to go.
Yes, yeah.
You expect that he'll save them.
Yes,
I wouldn't put it down to a coin toss. I'd say the balance was definitely in favour of Hudgwan doing it. He's just been reliable throughout.
Yeah. And I think it's here we go, a bit on the right hand side from Beeston, trying to get that cross in. Chance for a shot, maybe. No, it's not quite fallen for Josh Pavis. Yeah, but I think there is a consistency forming with Simon Hudgwan all the time now. He's he makes some super saves. He's good positionally, and I think, you know, when called into action late in games like that, or even in games where you don't get much to do, he's pretty much ready most of the time.
I agree.
Eddie Harper in the middle of the park there. Oh, just having his slipping on the shortly to be replaced surface.
I think we can put it down to that.
Yes.
In that scenario.
So yeah, just tight in the corner there with sort of heading to the last sort of 8 minutes of the game. Just a chance for a shot there, and there's the fourth for Oxted. Ball running and bouncing loose around the top of the D from Beeston's defence, and just falling to the Oxted striker. I think from the looking of that, we'll just have a see who that is. But
look through this again.
So they've done well to get out of that. So it's very difficult to get out of the tight left-hand side of the pitch. It's just fallen for a shot. I think that was Alex Bloomfield who's put that in. Against his former team, how dare he? No, but a good opportunity to take that, and sadly that's going to fall, and it's becoming a bit of a unhealthy scoreline for Beeston now, but for the reasons we've sort of explained, I think. But again, I think it's worth mentioning the structure and energy from Oxted is one of the main reasons why this result is as it is, because I don't think they've dropped off at all. I think they've been good in possession. Here they go again, starting their build-up with the back four, ball to the left half. Fed forward nicely and collected.
I'll need to double check the footage actually, Steve, because I think Rafa Calderon may actually have just got the last touch.
Did he? So he stole it from him. Right. And yeah, good attempt there to feed the forward, and it's still with Oxted high on the right hand side, maintaining possession in a dangerous area again. Josh Pavis just manages to interrupt the flow. Card to Will Prentice. Beeston down to 10 players. And that's falling very loose again for Oxted. Is this a chance for them to get their fifth? And I think that's going to be defended, is it? Plenty of Oxted players in there, and Beeston have done well to get away with that. It fell loose a couple of occasions in front of the goal. Ball still with Oxted in the D, an aerial to the baseline, and they've collected that well, and across the D it goes, and thankfully from Beeston's point of view out on the far side of the pitch. Joe Paul restart, and there we go again. That's a ball across the D. I mean, quite risky, I think, really. Close to the advancing Oxted forwards. Heavy whistle again. And
another green card awarded.
Check. That is Alex Bloomfield, is it?
Who's going to sit down? No, I think it's Chris Porter.
Oh, is it? Right.
Number 14, Chris Porter.
Oh, and they're very bobbly pass given across to Joe Paul, expecting a lot of him to trap that. It's gone out for an Oxted restart on the right hand side. All the way back to their deepest defender. Plenty of time and space for Oxted to start to rebuild again. Happy to play that into Lucas Ward in the midfield, even though he's surrounded by Beeston players. Comfortable with that kind of passing. Ball to right half and to Nick Giles, and that's sent forward, connected by Rafa Calderon, looking for a bit of space. Right on the edge of the D, tracking across here, looking for some, and a nice little slip in, and that's connected as well. Oh, and unfortunately for Chris Webster on Beeston's far post, he wasn't able to get his reverse stick on that. Restart for Beeston, and heading into the last 5 minutes of the game now, so I think it's fair to say that Oxted are going to take the points on today. Today's performance was well deserved as well. Richard Alexander. Considered to be a stick tackle, but ball back with Beeston. Restart from Josh Pavis again, using his reverse stick. I think he seems to prefer that. Good cross, good flat cross, fallen to.
Can we just get
Beeston
a redeeming
player.
goal here?
Deflected off the back for a corner restart to Beeston.
I would like to see, you know, the game is lost, but I would like to see just one goal on the score sheet
Yes,
for
I
us.
think
And tracked well by Sahib Dillon.
Can he create something out of this? Across the goal face, but he's won the corner.
Won the corner.
Yeah, again, he's taking his team's applause for winning a corner. Good possession on the ball, good basic skills. Richard Alexander, two occasions he's showing the value of just feeding that ball into the D, seeing the carnage it can create sometimes, and this time it's led to a penalty corner.
Because it's clear the game is lost.
Yes.
There is no redeeming this. But I think in that longer drive towards the next season, I think the team has won more in allowing Sahib especially to debut in this match. He is clearly going to be a fixture for the team moving forward, and I think
even taking up his role as one of the short corner.
I do, and I think it's a greater prize at this point of the season.
A little unusual little injection short to Robbie Gleeson. I think he was trying to find a deflection, that didn't quite come off. Needs to restart left hand side. Josh Pavis on his favoured reverse stick. I think he's done enough there to find a foot, but not given. Quite making a connection there for Oxted to get away. I think they're pretty comfortable with everything today and the way that they are. And again, their energy level's still high. Alex Bloomfield trying to step in front of Richard Alexander there, but didn't quite come off for him. We start from the sideline. Again, Oxted's work rate. Seems to be more red shirts on the pitch at any phase of the game at the moment. They're all over the place, and can't fault that. Has led to a breakaway here. Who's going to get there first? That's looking like Simon Hujwan.
Very well played.
Yeah.
Why?
I would ask. I think there might have been a foot there. I'm just having a look.
I would like to look at this again, and I could be wrong, but
great
why
ball there.
would be my initial reaction.
Unless it's he's given that before it's hit Eddie Harper's foot. So
I've honestly got no idea.
That's right.
At all.
I'm sure we'll. I think the Beeston players' defence there feel a bit aggrieved about the fact that there's a corner being given, but.
I feel aggrieved.
Yes.
So let alone how the Bees are finished, how the Bees are feeling.
Yes. Well, it's been one of those days anyway. I think they've been under the cosh a lot, the defence. They're probably worn out by the 70 minutes of relentless attacking that's come from Oxted, which is to Oxted's credit. And as we head into the last minute of the game, Simon Hujwan, who I think has had an excellent game.
I completely agree.
I think he's had to do a lot, possibly at times when he shouldn't have had to, but he's been on his game particularly. See if Brendan Andrews is running number 1 can get to this one. There he goes, and a nice little slip behind, and that's a really good save. Great routine from Oxted, slipping that ball behind. And they've still got possession of this, but Simon Hudgwan yet again cementing his credentials as a good keeper on the day, really. I think he's done very well.
I completely agree, and just a really quick confirmation, it was Rafa Calderon who got that last touch on that last goal from Oxted. In the closing seconds.
Yeah, there we go, just the ball still with Oxted. It's been for quite a lot of the day, finding their way to those little dangerous bits on the edge of the D, and this time Beeston. Oh, no, that ball has fallen to Oxted. Right at the edge of the D and the baseline, just holding the ball with pretty much through the 70 minutes by our clock, Cellan, but game still continues on. Umpire's time is slightly different for stoppages.
But in any event, there can't be long left.
No, they can't. No, and that Richard Alexander just trying to pinch that ball from the Oxted midfield player. Fell in, and very unfortunate. They're great lead, and attempted deflection. Just gone over the bar. Bit too much on it, really. Still Beeston restart in these dying seconds of the game. No stopping the work rate of Oxted. So Hibdon making a connection, and again there we a little example right at the end of the game of the turnovers in the midfield. So game ended, Oxted deserved winners, I think, Cellan, 4-0. This clearly puts Oxted at the top of the bottom group of 5 teams, and I think it's deserved on today's performance. The number of corners alone, been a credit to them winning those, and a very competent display by Oxted, I think.
I completely agree, and in parts I'd almost go as far to say formidable display as well. I think it was very good. Now there were other matches as well this weekend. I suspect if Brooklands have won their match that they may overtake us.
Yes, I think so.
In the division.
That's right.
But you know, as we were saying, there are points where we've picked faults. Certainly, you know, around midfield and turnover of the ball. Yeah. But you know, players like Ollie Firth, Sahib Dillon, a good outing.
Definitely, and I think you know, if you can't, if the league is pretty much sorted and you're safe, then why not use those games? And I think that's been a great opportunity. So that's Beeston's positive for the day, I think.
Yep, I completely agree. So that's all for BTV today. We are here next week as the women take on Clifton Robinsons. This pitch will be resurfaced, as we touched on earlier. We're getting a brand new blue pitch, so we'll be joining you from a different pitch. We don't quite know which one, but this will be the first time where we'll join you from a different pitch, and all the more touching as we approach nearly the 5th birthday of BTV as well.
Great stuff, yeah.
But no, that's fantastic. I've been Cellan Griffiths. Joining me has been Steve Musson.
Yeah, enjoyed today, and we'll look forward to the next outing for BTV, Cellan.
Thank you very much, Steve. All right, we'll see you all soon. Have a wonderful afternoon.